When we think about fame in today's world, our minds immediately jump to celebrities, social media followers, trending posts, and the constant validation that comes from others. People often measure success by the number of likes on a photo, the number of people who know your name, or how quickly your achievements are noticed by the world. But I want to challenge that way of thinking today, because in the eyes of Allah, true fame is not about how many people recognize you on this earth. It's about how Allah recognizes you. It's about being famous with Allah. And that fame, my brothers and sisters, is eternal. It does not fade with time, it does not diminish with age, and it is not dependent on the fleeting opinions of society. It is a fame that transcends this life and carries over into the next. When we pursue the approval of people, we often compromise our values, bend our principles, and sometimes even forget the very purpose of our existence. We chase after applause, but in doing so, we can lose sight of the one who created us, the one who deserves our ultimate devotion. But when we strive to be famous with Allah, everything changes. Every action we take, every word we speak, every thought we nurture becomes an opportunity to earn the pleasure of our Creator. And the beauty of it is that Allah notices even the smallest acts, the ones that no one else sees. The smile you give to a stranger, the quiet charity you offer without seeking recognition, the patience you exercise when no one is watching. These are the moments when you are truly shining in the sight of Allah. Think about this for a moment. How often do we bend over backward for the praise of people, yet overlook the one whose acknowledgement is infinite? How often do we stress about impressing others, when we could spend that energy impressing Allah, whose recognition carries weight that lasts beyond the grave? The Prophet Muhammad taught us that even a simple act done with sincere intention can be more valuable than the grandest display performed for the applause of the world. So imagine the power of living your life in such a way that your every action, your every choice, is directed toward pleasing Allah rather than seeking fleeting attention. Now, I am not saying that being recognized in this world is inherently wrong. If your good deeds inspire others, if your actions motivate people to do good, that is beautiful. But the crucial difference is in the intention. Are we seeking fame for the sake of ourselves, for the ego, or are we seeking to be seen by Allah, to be known by Him for our sincerity, our devotion, and our integrity? When we prioritize Allah's recognition over the world's, our perspective shifts entirely. We stop competing for popularity and start competing for righteousness. We stop worrying about how people perceive us and start focusing on how Allah perceives us. And that, my brothers and sisters, is where true contentment begins. Being famous with Allah requires a transformation of the heart. It is not enough to simply perform acts of worship or good deeds if our hearts are attached to the approval of others. The sincerity of our intentions is what elevates ordinary actions to acts that earn Allah's pleasure. A prayer performed privately in the darkness of your room, a kind word offered when no one is watching, a sacrifice made in secret. These are the acts that build a reputation in the eyes of Allah, a fame that cannot be shaken by the changing opinions of the world. And when Allah recognizes you, when He turns His attention to your sincerity, that is a recognition far greater than any award, any title, any viral moment could ever be. We also need to understand that fame with Allah is inclusive. It is available to all of us, regardless of our status, wealth, or social position. It is not reserved for the scholars, the speakers, or the leaders alone. Every person has the opportunity to be known and loved by Allah through acts of sincerity and devotion. The power lies in intention, consistency, and humility. Even small deeds done with genuine love for Allah accumulate, creating a life that is illuminated by divine recognition. And that is a life that cannot be diminished by worldly trials, envy, or neglect. No one can take it from you, and no one can diminish its value. So today, I want each of us to pause and reflect. Who are we seeking to impress? Is it the fleeting approval of people, or is it the eternal recognition of Allah? Because the choice is clear and the reward is immense. Fame in the eyes of Allah surpasses any worldly acclaim. It is everlasting, it is unshakable, it is profound. Let us redirect our energies, our actions, and our intentions toward the one whose acknowledgement matters above all else. Let us live in a way that when Allah looks at us, He smiles, He is pleased, and He elevates us in status in ways the world could never imagine. So strive, brothers and sisters, not to be famous among people, but to be famous with Allah. When we speak about aligning our actions with purpose, it is crucial to understand that everything we do can either draw us closer to Allah or take us further away from Him. Life is filled with countless choices every single day. Some of these choices may seem small, almost insignificant, like the smile you give to a colleague or the patience you exercise when stuck in traffic. Others are bigger decisions, moments that have long-term consequences on our families, our communities, and even our own spiritual lives. But here is the beauty of it. No action is too small to have meaning in the eyes of Allah, as long as it is done with sincere intention. You see, the concept of intention, the niyyah, is fundamental in Islam. Every action we perform is weighed by the intention behind it. Two people may perform the same act. One may do it for recognition, the other may do it purely to please Allah. And the value of these acts could not be more different. This is why it is so important to begin every day with mindfulness, to ask ourselves, why am I doing what I am doing? Am I doing this to show off? Am I doing this to compete with others? Or am I doing this to seek Allah's pleasure? When our purpose aligns with the will of Allah, our actions transform from mere habits into acts of worship, and even the most mundane tasks become a source of spiritual elevation. Consider, for a moment, the act of helping someone. Helping someone in need is universally recognized as good, but the reward we gain in the sight of Allah depends entirely on our intentions. If we help because we want people to praise us, because we want them to know that we are generous, then our reward is limited. But if we help purely to seek Allah's pleasure, quietly and sincerely, without anyone noticing, then that act has immense value. Allah Himself mentions in the Quran that even a small act of kindness done sincerely is never lost. It carries weight, it builds reward, and it establishes a connection with the Creator that is deeper than any worldly acknowledgement. And it is not just the grand gestures that matter. Often, the most profound way to align our actions with purpose is in the small, consistent habits that shape our character. Prayer, for instance, is more than just a ritual. It is a constant reminder to realign ourselves with Allah. It is an opportunity to step back from the distractions of life, to renew our intentions, and to consciously act in a way that is pleasing to our Creator. The same is true for other acts of worship: reading Quran, giving charity, showing patience, forgiving someone who has wronged us. Each of these actions, when done with purpose, becomes a building block in the construction of a life that is truly famous in the eyes of Allah. Now, the beauty of living with purpose is that it transforms not only our relationship with Allah, but also our perspective on life itself. We start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. We begin to understand that every moment, every encounter, every challenge is a chance to earn divine recognition. When faced with difficulty, for example, we no longer complain or feel defeated. Instead, we see it as a test, an opportunity to exercise patience and perseverance. When given wealth, we no longer hoard or use it recklessly. Instead, we see it as a trust, a means to support others and draw closer to Allah. Every choice becomes a chance to align ourselves with purpose, and every purposeful action strengthens our spiritual reputation in the sight of our Creator. It is important to recognize, too, that aligning our actions with purpose requires conscious effort. It is easy to fall into a pattern of doing things mindlessly, reacting to life without reflection, and allowing habits and societal pressures to dictate our behavior. But when we pause, when we take time to reflect on why we are doing what we are doing, we reclaim control over our actions. We can begin to filter out what is superficial, what is done merely for appearances or for social approval, and focus on what truly matters, what will earn Allah's love and pleasure. This requires honesty with ourselves, a willingness to examine our intentions, and a commitment to live intentionally every day. Ultimately, living with purpose is about making every action count. It is about transforming ordinary deeds into extraordinary acts of devotion. It is about understanding that even the smallest actions, when done sincerely, can have eternal significance. This is the essence of being famous with Allah. It is not about being noticed by the world. It is about being recognized by the one who sees everything, who knows our hearts, and who rewards us infinitely for our sincerity. When we align our actions with purpose, when we live with intention, we are building a life that has lasting impact, not just for ourselves, but for those around us, and ultimately in the sight of Allah. So, I urge you to take a moment and reflect on your daily life. Are your actions aligned with purpose? Are your intentions seeking the approval of the one who created you? Or are they distracted by the fleeting recognition of the world? Because when your actions are guided by purpose, every moment of your life becomes meaningful, every effort becomes valuable, and you move closer to being truly famous in the sight of Allah. And let us all strive to live in such a way that our actions, however small, are rooted in sincerity and guided by purpose. When we talk about character over clout, it's essential to understand that our world today has a very specific idea of success and fame. Everywhere we look, the loudest voices, the flashiest images, and the most dramatic lives seem to capture attention. People are admired for their wealth, their influence, their outward confidence, or sometimes simply for being at the right place at the right time. But let me ask you, my brothers and sisters, does the world's applause truly reflect what is valuable, what is lasting, what is right? Or is it often fleeting, superficial, and sometimes even misguided? Because here's the truth, people will forget names, people will forget titles, people will forget who they were cheering for yesterday. But Allah never forgets, and Allah never overlooks. Character, my friends, is far more important than clout. It is far more important than appearances, popularity, or public approval. It is the foundation on which true recognition with Allah is built. Being famous with Allah begins with the way we conduct ourselves, the way we treat others, the choices we make when no one is watching. Kindness, honesty, patience, humility, integrity. These are the traits that define a life beloved by Allah. And the beauty of these traits is that they cannot be faked for long. The heart knows, Allah knows, and even if the world doesn't notice, it does not diminish the value of these virtues in His sight. Think about honesty, for example. Honesty may not always bring you applause in this world. In fact, it may sometimes make things difficult, because telling the truth is not always easy, and not everyone appreciates it. But when you consistently speak truthfully, when you are known as someone who does not compromise integrity for convenience or gain, you are building a reputation with Allah that is unshakable. That is the kind of fame that lasts, the kind that matters. People may forget your words, but Allah's remembrance is eternal. Patience and humility work in the same way. In a society that glorifies loudness, dominance, and immediate success, patience often goes unnoticed. But the patient person, the one who endures hardships with faith, who forgives others even when wronged, who remains humble despite achievements, is being famous in a way that the world cannot measure. Humility allows you to see beyond yourself, to care for others, to act in ways that earn Allah's pleasure. And patience ensures that even in the face of trials, your heart remains steadfast, your actions remain righteous, and your connection with Allah grows stronger. It's important to recognize that being famous with Allah does not mean doing extraordinary acts that people will notice. Sometimes it's simply about living a life of moral consistency, even in the ordinary moments. How you interact with your family, how you treat the people at work or in your neighborhood, how you respond to challenges. These everyday moments lived with integrity become opportunities to earn Allah's recognition. And when your life is consistently guided by good character, you naturally inspire others without seeking attention. You become a silent beacon of righteousness, a model of sincerity and virtue that leaves a mark not because of flamboyance, but because of authenticity. One of the most beautiful aspects of character is that it transcends circumstances. Material success, popularity, and influence can all vanish in an instant. But good character endures. People may rise and fall in the world's eyes, but the person who cultivates honesty, patience, humility, and kindness builds a legacy that Allah Himself acknowledges and preserves. And this, my brothers and sisters, is the essence of being truly famous in His sight. A life that earns eternal recognition through the values we embody, rather than the approval we seek from others. It is also crucial to understand that building good character requires intentionality. It requires reflection, self-awareness, and sometimes courage. It means standing up for what is right, even when it is unpopular. It means being generous without seeking praise. It means forgiving when others may not expect it. It means being consistent in worship and in good deeds even when no one else notices. This is not always easy, but the reward is incomparable. And when Allah looks at such a person, when He sees the heart that is sincere, the actions that are genuine, the character that is upright, that is fame that no worldly measure can compare to. So as we consider the idea of being famous with Allah, we must ask ourselves, are we building our reputation around fleeting clout, or are we cultivating character that is beloved by Allah? Are we chasing attention, or are we chasing integrity? Are we seeking to impress people, or are we seeking to please our Creator? Because the choice is profound, and the impact is eternal. When we prioritize character over clout, when we let virtues speak louder than appearances, we build a life that not only draws Allah's recognition, but also leaves a lasting, positive imprint on the world around us. Let us then commit ourselves to this path, to live in a way where our words, actions, and intentions reflect honesty, patience, humility, and integrity. Let us strive to be people whose hearts are aligned with Allah, whose deeds are consistent with virtue, and whose legacy is defined by character rather than applause. And remember, the most enduring fame, the kind that truly matters, is earned not through spectacle, but through a life of unwavering moral excellence. When we speak about embracing consistency rather than chasing popularity, it is important to recognize that our world often glorifies the opposite. We live in a society that rewards flashes of brilliance, sudden popularity, and viral moments. One day, someone can be unknown, and the next day, they are everywhere, on screens, in conversations, in headlines. People are captivated by instant fame, yet it is often fleeting. What we see is temporary, and what we celebrate today may be forgotten tomorrow. But when we aim to be famous with Allah, we are not chasing what is fleeting. We are building something eternal, something steady, something that cannot be taken away. Consistency, my brothers and sisters, is the key. Consistency is what separates someone who is genuinely righteous from someone who only seeks recognition. It is easy to be good when the spotlight is on you, when people are watching, when the world is applauding. But what about the moments when no one notices? What about the times when life is difficult, when temptation is near, when fatigue and challenges weigh heavy on your shoulders? That is when true consistency matters. That is when your commitment to Allah, your devotion, and your sincerity are tested. And it is precisely in those moments that being famous with Allah becomes meaningful, because Allah sees everything, even the actions that no human eye ever witnesses. Think about the daily acts of worship that many of us perform. Prayer, for instance, is not always easy. Life is busy. Responsibilities pile up. It is tempting to delay or even skip. But the person who remains consistent in prayer, even when no one is observing, is earning a type of fame and recognition that is permanent. The small daily rituals, the quiet supplications, the consistent acts of charity, the regular remembrance of Allah. These are the building blocks of a life that is aligned with divine approval. They may not make headlines, but they accumulate reward in ways that no worldly measure can capture. Consistency also teaches us discipline and strengthens our character. When we commit to a routine of sincere worship and good deeds, we train ourselves to prioritize what truly matters over what is superficial. We learn to resist the temptations of immediate gratification, the allure of temporary attention, and the distractions of a world obsessed with visibility. Each consistent action, no matter how small, reinforces our alignment with Allah's guidance and strengthens our connection to Him. And over time, these consistent actions shape who we are, how we behave, and ultimately how we are remembered. Not by people, but by Allah. Another powerful aspect of consistency is that it transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities for spiritual growth. Life is filled with repetitive tasks, mundane routines, and daily responsibilities. It is easy to go through these motions mindlessly, to treat them as insignificant. But when we approach each moment with intention and consistency, we elevate even the simplest acts into forms of worship. Helping a neighbor every day, speaking kindly to those around us, showing patience with family members, maintaining honesty in our work. These acts, performed consistently and sincerely, carry immense weight in the sight of Allah. They are the quiet, powerful ways in which we become truly famous in His eyes. And let us not forget that consistency is a source of inspiration for others as well. When people witness someone who remains steadfast, who does not waver in their values, who lives with integrity and devotion, it encourages them to reflect on their own actions. Quiet consistency often speaks louder than grand gestures designed for attention. It is a form of leadership that is humble yet impactful, a form of influence that is genuine because it is rooted in sincerity rather than performance. When you live consistently with purpose, you are not only building your own legacy with Allah, but you are also inspiring goodness in the lives of those around you. At the same time, we must acknowledge that consistency is not always easy. Life presents challenges, distractions, and obstacles that can make it tempting to deviate or to become inconsistent. Yet it is precisely in persevering through these difficulties, in maintaining our commitment even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable, that we cultivate a reputation in the eyes of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ taught us that even small deeds, when performed consistently, carry immense reward. This is why it is so important to focus on regular, meaningful acts, rather than occasional displays of piety or righteousness aimed at impressing others. In essence, embracing consistency over popularity shifts our focus from temporary recognition to eternal reward. It reminds us that the opinion of people is fleeting, but the pleasure of Allah is everlasting. It teaches us patience, perseverance, and sincerity. It ensures that every day, every action, and every choice contributes to a life that is spiritually rich, morally sound, and beloved to Allah. Popularity may rise and fall, but a consistent life of devotion and good deeds builds a legacy that endures, that accumulates reward, and that establishes a connection with Allah that no one can diminish. So, I urge each of us to reflect on our daily lives. Are we living consistently in a way that pleases Allah? Or are we seeking moments of attention that fade quickly? Are our actions steady and sincere, or are they occasional, performed only when the world is watching? Because the fame that truly matters, the recognition that lasts, comes not from applause but from quiet, consistent devotion. And let us commit ourselves to live with unwavering consistency, knowing that the reward for steadfastness is immense, and the recognition from Allah is eternal. When we talk about transforming challenges into opportunities for praise, it is important to recognize that life is not always easy. Every one of us, without exception, will face trials, difficulties, and moments that test our patience, our faith, and our character. Sometimes these trials are small and persistent, like dealing with difficult people, financial struggles, or personal setbacks. Other times they are large and overwhelming, the kind that shake the very foundation of our lives. And in those moments it is natural to feel frustrated, discouraged, or even lost. But here is the profound truth. These challenges are not meaningless. They are not arbitrary. They are opportunities for growth, for spiritual elevation, and for earning the pleasure of Allah. You see, when a test comes our way, it is a chance to demonstrate our patience, our faith, and our resilience. It is a moment where the world may not be watching, but Allah is observing every struggle, every choice, every effort. When we respond to hardship with steadfastness, when we maintain honesty, humility, and integrity under pressure, we are earning a kind of fame that is invisible to the world but immeasurably valuable in the eyes of Allah. This is a fame that cannot be taken away by circumstance, ignored by society, or diminished by failure. It is a recognition that is eternal. Think about patience or sabr for a moment. Sabr is not just about enduring difficulty. It is about enduring it with faith, with trust in Allah's plan, and with a heart that does not waver in righteousness. When someone faces injustice, illness, loss, or disappointment, and responds with patience and trust in Allah, their actions carry immense weight. They are being famous in a way that the world cannot understand, because their consistency in faith and their perseverance in trials are seen and honored by the one who never overlooks good deeds. Similarly, challenges allow us to demonstrate sincerity. It is easy to be generous or kind when life is comfortable and everything is going well. But when we give when it hurts, when we forgive when it is difficult, when we speak truth even when it costs us socially, financially, or emotionally, that is when our actions shine in the sight of Allah. The trials of life are tests of sincerity, and the more we navigate them with faith and integrity, the more our deeds are magnified in value. Each act of patience, each moment of honesty, each step taken with trust in Allah becomes a form of lasting recognition. Adversity also teaches us resilience and strengthens our character. Life will inevitably place obstacles in our path, and how we respond defines who we are. When we confront difficulties with courage, when we maintain hope and avoid despair, when we seek solutions without compromising our principles, we are cultivating a type of fame that is enduring and unshakable. This is the fame that does not depend on approval from others, but on the acknowledgement of Allah, the one who measures hearts and intentions perfectly. Moreover, challenges are an opportunity for growth that cannot be replicated through comfort or ease. Ease may bring convenience, popularity, or temporary happiness, but it does not test our sincerity, our patience, or our faith. It does not build character in the way that trials do. Each challenge, each setback, is a chance to refine ourselves, to purify our intentions, and to rise above our limitations. By embracing difficulties with faith and perspective, we turn what may seem like burdens into opportunities to earn eternal reward. It is also important to remember that the way we respond to challenges impacts others around us. Our patience, resilience, and faith can inspire those who witness us or hear of our actions. By navigating adversity with dignity and trust in Allah, we model strength and perseverance for others. This is another form of being famous with Allah. Our struggles, when handled with sincerity and faith, become a source of benefit and encouragement for others, and a form of unseen legacy in eyes of our Creator. The key is perspective. Many of us see trials as obstacles or punishments, but in reality, every challenge is an opportunity. It is an invitation from Allah to turn what is difficult into a means of nearness to Him. It is a chance to earn reward that is far greater than any worldly recognition. The Prophet taught us that no hardship befalls a believer except that Allah will use it to elevate their rank, forgive their sins, or increase their reward. Every difficulty, no matter how small or large, is a chance to be seen by Allah, to be famous in His eyes, to earn eternal recognition that the world cannot provide. So, when life places trials before us, we must remind ourselves that these moments are not to be wasted. They are opportunities to be patient, sincere, humble, and steadfast. They are chances to transform hardship into acts of devotion, frustration into gratitude, and challenge into eternal reward. When we respond to adversity with faith and integrity, we are not only building our spiritual legacy, we are ensuring that our fame in the eyes of Allah is secure, unshakable, and everlasting. Let us then embrace life's trials with faith, resilience, and sincerity, knowing that every challenge we face is a chance to earn divine recognition and eternal reward. When we speak about leaving a legacy of goodness, we are talking about something far more enduring than what the world typically considers a legacy. Most people think of legacy in terms of wealth, status, or material accomplishments. They imagine buildings, businesses, social influence, or public recognition. But the reality is that these things are temporary. They fade with time, they can be lost, and they often do not reflect the true measure of a life well lived. Leaving a legacy in the sight of Allah is completely different. It is about creating something that benefits people, inspires goodness, and earns Allah's pleasure long after we are gone. That, my brothers and sisters, is the essence of being famous with Allah. A legacy of goodness begins with our actions today. Every act of kindness, every moment of teaching, every effort to help someone in need contributes to a foundation that can last beyond our lifetime. When we give knowledge sincerely, when we guide others towards righteousness, when we establish acts of charity that continue to benefit others, we are planting seeds that grow into a lasting impact. Imagine a school built for education, a well providing water for generations, or even a small act of kindness that inspires someone to continue doing good. These are the actions that echo far beyond our own presence. They are the actions that Allah honors and preserves. The Prophet they taught us that when a person dies, their deeds come to an end except for three things: ongoing charity, beneficial knowledge, and a righteous child who prays for them. This is a profound reminder that the legacy that truly matters is spiritual and beneficial, not superficial or temporary. When we focus on leaving a legacy in Allah's sight, we shift our perspective from seeking immediate recognition to building something eternal. Each small act done with sincerity, each effort made for the sake of Allah, has the potential to leave a ripple effect that continues long after we are gone. One of the most beautiful aspects of leaving a legacy of goodness is that it is accessible to everyone, regardless of status, wealth, or influence. You do not need to be rich, famous, or powerful to leave a lasting impact. Every act of charity, Whether large or small, every moment spent teaching or helping someone, every effort made to encourage righteousness and virtue counts. Even the smallest act, when done sincerely, can become part of a legacy that Allah blesses and preserves. It is the intention and the sincerity behind the action that gives it eternal value. Legacy is also about the people we influence. Our words, our guidance, and our example can shape the lives of others in ways that we may never fully understand. A simple conversation that guides someone towards faith, a piece of advice that encourages patience and perseverance, or an act of kindness that inspires generosity, all of these have the potential to create a chain of goodness that extends far beyond our immediate circle. This is why being famous with Allah is so profound. It is not about the number of people who know your name, but about the positive impact you leave in the world, and the recognition Allah grants for your sincerity and effort. Moreover, leaving a legacy of goodness requires intentionality. It requires us to think about the long-term impact of our actions, to prioritize acts that have lasting value, and to live in a way that consistently reflects our faith and values. It is not enough to do good occasionally or when it is convenient. A meaningful legacy is built through consistency, through dedication, and through a conscious effort to act in ways that honor Allah and benefit others. It is about making every moment count, every action purposeful, and every effort sincere. Challenges, setbacks, and personal limitations may make us feel that leaving a legacy is impossible, but this is where faith and intention play a crucial role. Allah sees every effort, no matter how small, and multiplies the reward for those who act sincerely. Even in the face of difficulties, when we persevere and continue to do good, we are building a legacy that cannot be diminished. The actions we take today, rooted in faith, patience, and sincerity, have the power to ripple through generations, influencing countless lives and earning eternal reward. Finally, leaving a legacy of goodness is intimately connected to the way we live our lives day by day. It is reflected in how we treat our family, our friends, our neighbors, and even strangers. It is reflected in how we share knowledge, encourage virtue, and uplift others. It is reflected in how we use our resources, time, and energy for the benefit of others. A life that consistently prioritizes the pleasure of Allah, that seeks to benefit others, and that maintains sincerity in every action is a life that leaves a legacy worth remembering, not by the world but by Allah. So, as we reflect on what it means to be famous with Allah, let us commit ourselves to leaving a legacy that endures. Let us live with intention, act with sincerity, and invest our efforts in ways that benefit others and please our Creator. Let us remember that the fame that truly matters is not measured by the world, but by the impact we leave and the recognition we earn from Allah.